Right now we have Gary Mullinax, who's the entertainment editor of the News Journal, who's going to do our special critique called Entertainment, and it's coming up right now. Thank you.
Well, my selections for the top 10 movies of 1980 appeared in the News Journal not long ago. Since then, a lot of people have been asking me why I picked those particular movies. The list is filled with a lot of commercial flops. A lot of the year's big money makers are off the list. In fact, a lot of them are way off the list. Looking back, I think what I did is go for movies that don't play to the preconceived ideas of the audience. Movies that don't pander to an audience by telling it what it already knows and wants to hear again. Of course, a movie has to entertain, or we'd all stay home and read heavy articles about human behavior. And a movie ought to do all that it does with a sense of style. Also, there's nothing wrong, of course, with a movie that only wants to entertain as long as it works hard to achieve its effect, and as long as it doesn't pretend to be more than it is. Well, let's look at the list. Number one was Raging Bull, the Martin Scorsese movie that came out just before Christmas. Scorsese doesn't try to explain away the out-of-control emotions of boxer Jake LaMotta, who's insanely jealous, who is filled with self-hate, and who takes out at least some of his frustration in the ring. Instead, Scorsese just shows it to us in vivid, poetic detail. This is not a sentimental, Rocky kind of boxing story, and it's a lot better than that. Number two is The Great Santini. This movie isn't afraid to take a look at what makes a hard-nosed military man tick. Colonel Bull Meacham, it turns out, is a little bit insane and a whole lot immature. Meacham is the latest in the line of American adventure seekers who always have to test themselves, and this movie pretty well debunks a lot of the myths surrounding that kind of figure. Number three is Ordinary People, Robert Redford's directorial debut. This movie takes a look at some real problems of an American family and doesn't cop out by solving them neatly by the end of the show, the way problems tend to get solved on television, for instance. Number four is Resurrection. It's about a faith healer, played very well by Ellen Burstyn. This faith healer isn't very religious, and she doesn't really think her power comes from God, and she's an altogether really neat lady. I think all these things tend to overturn preconceptions on both sides of the fence. Number five is Woody Allen's Stardust Memories. Now, a lot of us who loved Manhattan and Annie Hall were kind of disappointed by this, but it's still a real good movie. Allen cheats a little, but by and large he gives us a real perceptive look at a man who is disillusioned with fame and success. And if that doesn't put the American dream under scrutiny, I don't know what does. Number six is Willie and Phil. Its director, Paul Mazursky, made the really delightful Next Stop Greenwich Village, which played on television a few nights ago. In this one, unfortunately, he puts a little too much distance between us and its characters, but nonetheless, he tells us a whole lot about how people relate to each other and why. Number seven is The Long Riders. This Western kind of goes against what I've been saying about movies that debunk myth. This one upholds a myth, the myth of the James Gang. Director Walter Hill wants us to like the James boys because, well, for all the classic reasons, because they're little guys going against big government and against big train companies. And the movie is made with so much style that it would have been hard to keep it off the list anyway. Number eight is Gloria. We don't see too many female tough guys like Gloria in the movies, and I doubt if we'll ever see any played as well as Gina Rollins plays this character. Number nine is Airplane, a truly witty comedy in a year when most comedies really just went for the easiest possible joke. And number 10 is Urban Cowboy. Now, Urban Cowboy is not a great movie, but then this wasn't a real good year for movies to begin with. Urban Cowboy does have solid entertainment values, and it makes us care about its characters. And that's it for tonight.